And now Rabbi Yehudah Glick, the president of Shalom Jerusalem organization. Welcome to our show.
Shalom, Zohar. Should have a brighted day. And you and all those who are viewing Newsreal, Shalom from Jerusalem.
Well, Jerusalem looks just beautiful behind your back in Temple Mount, and that is exactly what I wanted to talk to you about. What is the current situation on Temple Mount? I heard, just for a starter, that there was a pit that was uncovered on Temple Mount. Can you tell us a little bit behind the scenes what went off there and what is the situation at all?
Well, I can tell you there are different ways to look at the perspective of what's happening now on the Temple Mount. On the one hand, the Temple Mount is very sad because usually when we go up to Temple Mount, we see thousands and thousands of tourists from all over the world. And the Temple Mount itself is weeping in sorrow. How are the roads to Zion mourning without the pilgrims coming? But I can say that at the same time, many Jews are coming onto the Temple Mount. We're allowed to go up now in groups of 20 due to the COVID-19. But we're also many of the limitations we had in the past on praying. Many people are praying, and many people are coming, and we're also broadcasting, the Shalom Jerusalem Foundation. We're broadcasting our visits on the YouTube and on the Facebook page of the Shalom Jerusalem Foundation. But mainly, we see many, even secular Jews, Jews with kippah, Jews without kippah, who are coming. The visit to Temple Mount lately has been quite peaceful, but I can tell you what I am missing on the Temple Mount. That is the sound of the shofar. You know that the prophet Joel, he talks about a crisis in his time where they were suffering, he was talking about locusts, and they were suffering a crisis that harmed many people in their health and in their finance. But he said, Tik'u shofar b'tzion, blow the shofar on Zion. And that's what we've been trying to do. We're calling out to let the shofar blow on Zion. And as a matter of fact, we have announced that from Rosh Hashanah, which is going to be next Shabbat, in another week and a half from now, and 12 days from now, we're going to be calling people all over the world, blow the shofar and put it on your Facebook, on your social media, and hashtag, let the shofar blow on Zion. Let the shofar blow on Zion. And that's what we were trying to do. As a matter of fact, this week, the first time, we sounded the sound of the shofar from somebody who was blowing the shofar, who was not with us on the Temple Mount, but he was able to blow the shofar. I don't want to skip your question. Last week, while they were cleaning the Temple Mount, suddenly a stone was shaking, and they picked it up, and they saw a deep pit, deep cistern probably. We don't know exactly what that was, but unfortunately, because of the conflict, the Waqf immediately covered it up and paved it with cement, and the secrets of the Temple Mount archaeology is still hidden from the eyes of the public. And that's something very, very, very sad, because we want to know, we want to study our history. But I want to take you back to the good news, and the good news is that many people are really connecting to the Shalom Jerusalem Foundation and to many other who are coming onto the Temple Mount and expressing their feeling. Because you have to understand, the shofar, which is the most common, most popular mentioned musical instrument in the entire Bible, it has two meanings. On the one hand, it is the sound of man towards God. When we call out and pray out to God, as I mentioned before in the prophecy of Joel, when King David brought the ark to the Temple Mount, he cheered with the shofar. When the victorious victory of Joshua on Jericho, he blew the shofar. But also, the shofar is not only our call to God, As a matter of fact, the first time the shofar is mentioned in the Torah is when God gave the covenant with his word on the Mount Sinai. And so the covenant of Hashem, the sound of Hashem, comes out in the shofar. And therefore the prophet Zechariah, in Zechariah 9, he mentions that the time of redemption, God comes out and the sound of Hashem comes through the shofar. On Rosh Hashanah, all humanity, because the Rosh Hashanah, according to the Jewish tradition, is the day man was created. And man was created on the day of Rosh Hashanah. And on that day, all humanity, because we're all descendants of Adam. He was the first son, the first man, and he was created in the image of Hashem. So all humanity announces, declares the kingdom of Hashem, and we call out Psalm 47, which talks about the kingdom of Hashem. But what really we're waiting for is really the shofar of redemption, the shofar of the jubilee, of freedom, of redemption of the world. So here I can tell you that this year, with the special sounding of the shofar on the one hand of the COVID-19, we're also sounding the shofar of knocking down the walls of division between Israel and the Arab world, the shofar of peace. We hear the shofar of peace coming back. So this is the sound of the shofar we want to hear. We want to see the incredible peace between Israel and the entire region more and more unfolding. It's beginning now in the Emirates. We heard even a Muslim country, Kosovo, is moving is opening an embassy in Jerusalem, followed by Serbia. We heard the president of Malawi announcing he'll be moving his embassy to Jerusalem. So we see Jerusalem will represent continents, the America, Europe, Africa, we hope, and we hope also the Arab countries. These are the sound of the shofar of peace we're hoping to hear. And this is exactly what the Shalom Jerusalem Foundation stands for. The shofar to be blown on Temple Mount. Let the shofar blow on Temple Mount. The shofar of redemption, the shofar of peace, and the shofar of the sound of Hashem making covenant with humanity. You can go on.
You're talking about the shofar in Temple Mount, and you remind, I have to tell, even though I called you for an interview, I have to tell you a story. My grandfather had a cousin. His name was Moshe Tzvi Segal. And at the time when the British mandate was here in what was called then Palestine, and the British wouldn't allow the Jews to blow the shofar, not on top of Temple Mount, but in the Western Wall. It was not allowed. And the Jews said, well, that will not pass, because on Yom Kippur, you have to blow the shofar, and we'll blow the shofar on the Western Wall. And this guy, who was then very young, he was, I think, 14 or 15 at the time, decided that he will blow the shofar at the end of Yom Kippur on the Western Wall. And of course, the Jewish underground helped him, but eventually they succeeded. And he was the first one to do that under the British mandate. And he was probably the first one for I don't know how many centuries to blow the shofar on the Western Wall. And now that was not allowed when the British was here, but now under Israeli rule, we need to take it one step further. We want to hear the shofar on Temple Mount, not on the Western Wall, on Temple Mount. And that was, you reminded me with your words.
First of all, I was very moved by the story. I didn't realize that he was related to you. It's really a very interesting story about Moshe Tzvi Segal. But on the one hand, I can say that thank God we're not under the British mandate. We're under Israel's sovereignty, and we need to blow the shofar. But you reminded me of one more shofar, the very famous shofar that we all recall 53 years ago, when Naomi Shemer, the Israeli poet, and Rabbi Shlomo Goren took the shofar when he knew that they were entering the Temple Mount. He tells that he ran to his father-in-law to take the shofar, and he blew the shofar accompanying the Israeli paratroopers entering the Lion's Gate into the Tribes Gate, all the way the entire 6-day war, the entire conquering and uniting Jerusalem, blowing the shofar the entire time. And he said there was no possibility that we would return to the Temple Mount without blowing the shofar. And unfortunately, now we have to work to get it. And we're really calling for people to sign the petition to allow us to blow the shofar on Temple Mount. We're under Israeli sovereignty. We're not going to play games like they did in the mandate, smuggling a shofar. But also, we're calling people, buy a shofar personally for every single one of you. Blow it wherever you are, and put it under the hashtag of Let the Shofar Blow on Zion, and be part of it. So you can go into shalomjerusalemfoundation.org/shofar, shalomjerusalem.org/shofar, and you can purchase your shofar from Jerusalem. We'll send it out to you. You can blow shofar from Rosh Hashanah the entire month of October. We're going to be allowing people to unite in calling and demanding, let the shofar blow on Zion. And though the petition is addressed to the government of the state of Israel, but it's the shofar blowing is addressed to the Almighty, the King of all of humanity. And that is where we are directing our shofar. And before I conclude, I just want to wish all the people that are watching this program greetings with blessings, that we should have a more healthy year this year, and we should overcome all the challenges, and we should all be united under the one and only God, whose foundation stone of faith is here in the city of Jerusalem on the Temple Mount, which is Zion.
Amen. And of course, we'll assist you with anything that is needed with regards to the shofar. Personally, I have a family obligation to do that, and I will be honored to do that. And I think it's a great innovation and great idea, and I think you are doing just great things in order to unite all people of faith in Jerusalem. That's just beautiful.
Thank you, Zohar, and Shana Tova personally to you as well.
Thank you, Shana Tova. Thank you so much for joining us today.